We are live. Hello and welcome everyone to this very special episode where we will talk about a lot of Python, a lot of automation, a lot of stuff which you are very excited about that we can see from your registrations. Thank you for the wonderful support. And yes, today we will be covering a lot of stuff. So stay tuned and just take your notebook with you because you would want to note a lot of interesting stuff. So we'll be talking about how to get started with Python if you're a newbie, right? And then if you are comfortable with Python, or even if you're not, right, we will tell you from the basics. We will cover everything about how to run a detailed SEO audit with the help of Python. You do not need Screaming Frog. You do not need any crawling tool. You have everything that it takes to run an audit. And then we'll go and talk about how to do keyword research, clustering, and everything around that you cover in keyword research that will be done by with the help of Python here. And then we'll also talk about how Python can be used for migrations, competitor analysis, content optimization, core web vitals, and much more. So it's going to be very exciting. And what you can see on the screen is we have three fantastic people, three Python gurus here with us, right? So I'll now jump to the introduction quickly because these are fantastic people. Of course, I mean, like for most of you, they would not need any introduction. However, we would have some people who are new in Python and they got excited and they want to understand how they can learn from Alicia, for example, to get started with Python. So yeah, let's jump to the introductions. I'm starting with myself. I'm Nitin Manchanda. I'm running this boutique SEO agency called Botpresso. We love tech SEO and we do everything tech SEO. And I'm based out of Berlin. And yes, that's me. With that, I would like to move to Alicia. Alicia, could you please give a quick introduction about yourself? We can start with that.
Hello, my name is Olesa Koropka. I'm doing SEO for more than 10 years. I don't remember. I've been doing that with Python. I utilized Python for SEO since 2015. And I've started, when I started learning it, I could not stop because it solves so many problems of yours. So I'm using it for SEO automations, for clustering, for internal linking, and for automating all those very, very small tasks, which are quite annoying if you do them manually. So when you are taking and using Python, it makes your life so much easier. It's so much wonderful, and you can accomplish more. And I also suggest that everyone should try to do that because you start to understand how search engines work better. When you try to cluster even a very small website for the topics which it has, and your computer crashes for the first time because you've done something wrong with your code, and you start to understand why Google may not really want to crawl your website from time to time or index it.
Brilliant. That's amazing. Looking forward to learning a lot from you today. And I think I completely agree. All that boring stuff with the help of Python, everything goes and you can focus on some quality stuff. Yeah. So with that, Alicia, what is your favorite SEO aspect these days? Like, and especially if you can talk something about SEO automation, that would be amazing because that is the theme that we're covering today.
So I just start sharing my screen and like that, or we do
Not
that
a
way.
screen share right now, but you just talk
Okay.
about what is your favorite SEO aspect these days? Anything that you're focusing
Uh,
on or
like
working on?
what I wanted to talk today about. I've been using. I'm a very lazy person because I'm doing like lots of tasks at once, and I'm like an orchestra woman in SEO. So you do this and that and multitasking all the time. You tend to forget all those libraries in Python. You tend to forget like some interesting code perks or how to utilize something. So I have very bad memory because of lots of things I need to do. And now comes ChatGPT and GPT-4 and Bard and everything else, which make the life so much easier. So today I'll be concentrating more and focusing more on how you can use these chats to use that. Like my son didn't know, for example, Python at all, and he used ChatGPT to make him learn that. And
Ooh.
so he made some plugins for his Warcraft and all these kind of things. We can do the same with SEO. It doesn't take a long time. And what's good, ChatGPT is pretty good with libraries and pretty good with debugging. So you get some error You send it to ChatGPT and ask them to explain to you what happens, and they do. And it takes so much faster and so much easier. So you don't have to go to Stack Overflow and search for all these pieces of codes and compile them and think what happened. You just ask ChatGPT and have this code prepared in in a fraction of an hour, like very, very fast. And you just copy that to Google Colab, for example, if you don't want to use it for on Jupyter. And it's running and it's making everything you can share with your colleagues and everyone else. And I think it's awesome. Yeah, of course, sometimes what they offer is not the best solution, but it works and it works fast, so it's okay.
Brilliant. I absolutely agree with that. Yeah, and good to hear that your son is already, coding in Python. I'll tell that story to my 6-year-old daughter, and I think we'll get her started with Python. Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm really happy to see you here. And I think it's so much fun. Like I'm just seeing people who are joining us from every part of the world. We got the lovely BB from Amsterdam. We got, of course, Anton, and we have people from Mongolia, from India, Ukraine, from the US, from France. Oh my God, from everywhere. You guys are awesome. I think this is the magic that you are bringing. Cool. With that, we can move to Elias. Hey, Elias, welcome. Yeah, I met you a few days back. I know a lot about you now, but I think now it's your time to tell the world who you are, what you're working on.
Sure. From Berlin. That was the same trip that Martin was in, and we met over there as well.
All right,
Um,
cool.
so I've been
Yeah.
doing a lot of search SEO and SEM for a long time, and I got bombarded with this thing called data science and machine learning a few years ago, and I just wanted to take a peek what the hell that is, and I got just pulled in and never came out. So I started with R, the programming language, and then a year later I moved to Python, and I didn't. The main thing that I noticed was I didn't find a package that is specifically for SEO or SEM people, and I was really surprised. And for some reason, I decided to make one. Some people see business people and say, I want to be a business person or a singer. Some people look at a package store and they see an empty package, say, I want to build a package. So I'm one of
Amazing.
those people. So I'll show you a bit of stuff that you can do with it today. I hope you like it, and looking forward to what the others will share as well.
Brilliant. Yes, looking forward to the package and the power of that package. Well, I already have some sneak peek, but yeah, I don't want to, give another spoiler like Anton did during the promotion. Yeah, so thank you, Alice, for joining us today, and looking
Thank
forward
you.
to learning more about your package and how you're thinking about, helping the whole SEO community through your amazing skill set. Cool.
Thanks.
With that, I would love to move to Andreas. Hey, Andreas, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm Andreas. My company is Artios. And how did I get into Python? I actually wanted to quit SEO about 13 years ago. I actually was starting to kind of feel that I was, I don't know, falling out of love with it, if that's one way of putting it. And then so I decided to retrain for a career or business in data science. Oh, what was really funny is the more I learned about coding and higher mathematics, the more I came to appreciate how search engines like Google work, and it made me fall in love with it, fall in love with SEO again, because it totally gave me a new way of looking at it. And yeah, so basically, I'm self-taught in Python and higher mathematics, and since then it's led me to this point today, really. I started writing a book about 3 years ago, and the book is out. It's Data Driven SEO. It's been published by Springer. So yeah, that's my Python for SEO journey to date.
Amazing. I'm definitely looking forward to checking out your book. And
Thank you.
congratulations on the launch. You're fantastic. I'm sure the book is the same, and it's definitely going to help a lot of people. Good luck with that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. So I think there are a lot of impatient people like myself, for example, BB, who has started, like using frameworks. Come on, get started with the real meat, right? And yes, so I think we should get started. We're done with the introduction. Now the world knows who we are listening to. So to set the context, I think it's very important to cover, how we can use, for example, automation that we have there to start coding in Python if you are new in the field. Python is brilliant, right? But we don't want to leave people who do not understand coding or who have never coded. So let's, focus them in mind and start with, how one can start with Python, right? So, Alicia, would you just want to share your screen and show us some magic how your son, learned Python and how, someone with no coding experience can code in Python and do awesome stuff.
Yeah, sure. I'll share my screen. However, I do suggest that you take some basic course in Python, even if it's 1 or 2 days, just to learn the syntaxes, just to learn what's it called and what the libraries are and everything else. Because I've checked Bard, I've checked Perplexity, I've checked a few other charts. They are sometimes a bit off. I find that ChatGPT is the best in terms of providing the most relevant information and less hallucinations, for example, but it's still not the best solution. So if you don't have any coding experiences, I do suggest that you take at least 1 or 2 lessons online, either on Coursera or in the data camp or anywhere else, just to get to understand what the topic is, how Python works, and what you can do there, and to understand actually the code that you need. But anyways, even if you do take them, you forget them very quickly if you don't do that every day around. And most SEOs, they don't do Python scripts every day, so they will forget everything they learned, and ChatGPT will save you. I'm using very, very basic scripts, very basic prompts to start with ChatGPT and coding for my very, very small tasks. For example, I need to utilize schema. We all know that if we just ask directly ChatGPT to write the schema for us from scratch, it might be not in line with Google's guidelines and everything else. So we need to set a very good detailed description of what we want. And then if we want to generate that schema each time when we have this type of article, in my case, it is a video. I do videos, for example, on Duda and or my own videos, and I have these lots of timestamps if the video is long. And it's very hard to manually transform like all those timestamps from minutes to seconds, from hours to seconds, and set the start and to set the end and to convert them into the clips video object. So it's like one of those very small, very easy tasks, which you can utilize ChatGPT and then have this code in Python to help you generate for each video. And when you start, you just ask ChatGPT to prepare themselves for writing the Python script and provide all the details that you have. And so they go and provide you with the script. And you copy it and paste into a clips object. And what happens here is also that it's sometimes really off. So, for example, it doesn't understand how to convert timestamps correctly. So you need to provide them another guideline. For example, add commas and so forth. Don't try to push into one prompt everything. Have several prompts. For example, you will have another prompt for adding commas into timestamps, and then only after it generates the script that you need, you integrate that into your overall framework. And it takes around 30 minutes or so, and then you have this working code where you just prompt it and paste all the information in the way that you want, and that's it. You have a copy and you have the working code. I try to be very fast.
That was fantastic. That was brilliant. I think it's really easy. And the way you presented, I think it was like now everyone is like Python coded already. So now that you understand Python, right? Everyone knows how to, write Python, how to think about your prompts, what are the things to consider while writing a prompt to get the best outcome from ChatGPT for your Python code. You understand the basic of it. With that, we should now move forward and think about how we can run a crawler right? And here, I think Elias has a magic. And trust me, when Anton mentioned in the, like promotional post as well, that with one line you can write a crawler, this is reality. He showed me that. And now let's jump to that and see, how you can write a crawler which does so much awesome stuff. So Elias, all yours from
Okay.
here.
1 second. I'm sharing screen. Can you see?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. So yeah, as you mentioned, AdverTools has a function called crawl. Functions here work just like you do with Excel. You put the function name and you open parentheses and you put the parameters or the arguments here. So all you have to do is give it a URL and then the output file bp.jl, which was saved over here. And if you want to, it's follow links equals true means I wanted to go in spider mode. So crawl this page, discover links, the next page, do it recursively until you finish the whole website. There's many other options here that you can use, but we're not going to get into this right here. So the result is, yes, you crawl it with this command, and then as a result, you get this text file, which you can read into a table. As you can see, there's a lot of columns here, and we're going to go through them very quickly. So another interesting function to use here, which we're going to combine them together, is sitemap to df, sitemap to data frame, which converts an XML sitemap to a table just like this. So you can give it a robots.txt URL, and it will discover every sitemap URL over there, download them all, and put them into one place. It could be a normal sitemap, it could be a zipped sitemap, and it could be a sitemap index. If it's a sitemap index, it would go recursively into all of them. Okay. So one of the first things I like to do is take a look at my URLs that have been either crawled or in the sitemap, and split them and convert them into a table. So URL to df, convert URLs to a data frame, is the function that does that. Okay. So here's my URLs, just like the first 5, and they're split into their components: scheme, network location, path, query, fragment. And the path is also split into directories, directory 1, 2, 3, and the last directory. So this can give us a quick overview over here. We can go through them one by one. For example, let's count the schemes that we have. So we have 45 pages, and all of them are HTTPS. Cool, nothing to see here. Let's look at the domains. Maybe you have about subdomains, or we've crawled something else. Everything is botpresso.com, 100%. I quickly checked. We don't have any query parameters or fragments, so we get into the more interesting part, which is looking at the directories. So directory 1 has 5 values for SEO guide. Okay, now we're trying to understand. We're beginning to understand how the website is structured and how the content is structured. So it seems we have 5 SEO guides, and we have 4 services, we have 2 authors, we have 2 web stores, we have 2 tags, and so on. NaN is not available, which is the homepage, because the homepage doesn't have anything in directory 1. Okay, so you can do this once you have this as a table. You can filter any way you want. So you can say, give me the ones where directory 1 is sports, and then go to directory 2, and so on. You can go crazy with the kinds of analysis that you want. Now with XML sitemaps, sometimes, well, mostly you have the last mod tag, which tells me when this URL was last modified. Generally, it's the publishing date. It's not, I know, but we can use it as a proxy in many cases. So what we can do now, because we have these URLs with the last mod tag, we can just plot them here. And this is the timeline of the publishing that we have. And the vertical, the y-axis, is just the percentage. Okay, so the first thing you can notice is over here there was no publishing. So each one of these dots is one of the URLs. Okay, and it is horizontally shown where it is in the timeline when it was published. So you can immediately see here that there was no publishing, and in the areas here we have very frequent publishing. Okay, so this is also an interactive chart, so you can easily zoom in here and see more clearly what are the URLs that have been published and modified and so on. Now, this, I can check with you as the website owner and check what happened. According to this, you started publishing on October 19th, and the last thing you published was June 28th, and you can see the URL over here. Okay. So all of this over here, this is the Jupyter Notebook version, can be easily converted. You can hide all the code and convert it to a nice looking HTML report, for example, like this. Okay, which with navigation you can go, and this is a normal HTML file that you can just download and send to your client. Okay, so we were here, right? We can easily check which URLs were in the sitemap and not crawled. So these are some pages that were not discovered by the crawl. Authors are not linked to, and so on. And it's hyperlinked. So this is immediately a report that while I'm consuming and reading, I can click and check them and see what to do with them. I checked for crawled and not in sitemap. It's empty, so there was nothing here that was not there. We also have a robots tester, and the value of this is that it works in bulk, okay? Because you don't want to just test one URL. You have many URLs, and many times you have various user agents inside the same robots.txt file. So you want all the combinations in one go. So nothing was blocked here. So I'm just showing you an empty table here to show you that there's nothing was blocked. We can also check the canonical tags. All pages contain canonical tags, and we can easily check which ones are different from the URL that are on. So here we only have two, but as you can see, they're the same actually, but they're just a slash, trailing slash. So just to keep this in mind. We can move on to title tags. Number of pages with no title tags was 0, and we can immediately start analyzing the content of these title tags by counting the words. So the most frequently used word is bot presso, obviously, SEO ultimate guide services. So I'm starting to know what kind of website this is and how frequent these words are. For a better view, you can take the bigrams, which are 2 consecutive words that come one after another, an ultimate guide, SEO case services. So that's already telling me a lot about what kind of content you have on this website. I looked at H1 tags, and I realized that some pages have more than one H1 tag on them. And to understand more, I just ran a quick visualization that counts those H1 tags per page. So it seems this is how they are distributed, okay? So pages that have one H1 tag are 25. We have 7 pages that have 2 H1 tags and so on. And now I can easily create a very, very highly customized and very simple report. The URLs where the H1 tags are more than 1. This is the URL, these are the tags, and I added a column here, which is the count. So again, you can immediately start working on this from here, copy this, and see what's going on. So this is one value in using data science with Python or any other language, is that you're creating your own custom reports the way you want. You're not stuck with any custom report that's just given to you, okay? We can move on to links. So for every link you have on every URL, you have 3 attributes. You have the link itself, the URL, you have the text of the link, and you have whether or not it's a no-follow link. I added this to the report here because it depends on the domain that you have, but it's a very simple check. Does it contain botpresso.com? True, then it's internal link. Otherwise, it's an external link. So we have 2,445 links in total across all the website. A quick check, what did we no follow here? Here are all the no followed links in this site. These are normal, like you have social media sites. And we also have these articles. So it's also telling me, starting to learn more about the linking strategy that you have, the content strategy, what you've published, and you can immediately see where this link occurred on the website, and you can check it out immediately. So just like we did here with splitting the URLs of the website, we can do the same thing with the links, the external links that we link out to, right? And what could be interesting is once we've done that, we can count the domains that we link to the most. So here you have a simple report that tells me that I link to Twitter the most, LinkedIn, social media, obviously. But the top website that I link to is Replit, the software training, deployment, and it's an online coding platform that has many features. So you have 7 links here, developers.google, and so on. Again, this is telling me who you are giving importance to, both in terms of link building and in terms of general strategy, content, your relationships with other websites, and so on. How am I doing on time? Am I late? Good? Bad?
Yeah. Good to go. Good to go.
Okay, because I don't see
I
anything
think
now.
everyone is loving it. Yeah.
Great. Happy to hear this. Okay, so we can look at page size and download latency. And just a quick disclaimer that this is what I like to call one-way metrics, which means two-way metrics are metrics that work in both ways. So high, good, low, bad. If you have high revenue, that's good. If you have low revenue, that's bad. High customer satisfaction is good. Low customer satisfaction is bad. Now, these two metrics are only one way. So a page size that is very large, if you have like 20 megabyte page, that's definitely bad. But if it's a small page, it's not necessarily good. So over here, we have the smallest web page is 140 kilobytes. This is just the HTML of the page. This page might contain 20 images, 1 megabyte each. That would be huge. So just keep this in mind. So this report shows me how the distribution is happening. So there's an extreme value here, and you have the full details. You have the title tag, the size, the percent, and the URL. So the percent gives me, let's say for some reason we decided that 200 kilobytes is the maximum acceptable size of page that we have. Okay, so I can come here to quantify my problem. Let's say, and assuming we said 200K. So as you can see here, percentage 78. So it means that 78% of my pages are within my target, and the remainder are bigger than we've targeted. Okay, and you can do this the other way around. You can say, where are 90% of my pages? You can come here where it's 90%, and you can see, okay, it's at 220 kilobytes. And again, this is also interactive. You can zoom in, double click to zoom out, and so on. Same thing with the download latency. You can see an interesting cluster here of pages. It's still, all of it is really tiny, but it's good to know. Okay. So structured data. There's JSON LD especially there's a lot of things to do and analyze and check, but this is a very, very high level overview. So the first question that comes to my mind is, how frequently, how often is structured data used in the website? Okay, so we can simply count these. So we first know you use all these JSON LD tags. Okay, the @context tag is used on 97% of the pages. The image is used in 10% of the pages, and so on. So that gives me an immediate sizing and quantification of how am I doing? Is it like 10% of the website, or is it like 90%? And which tags are used and which tags are not used? Okay, you see here JSON LD is obviously JSON LD, and you have ones and twos sometimes. That's because on the same page you sometimes have more than one tag. So if you do, you will have an _1 for the second tag, _2 for the third tag, and so on, as many as you have. So an example here is the context. This is the first tag, and this is also context, @context, but this has an _1, which means in some pages, in 23% of the pages, you have context twice in 2 tags on the same page, and so on. Same thing with Open Graph. You know the percentage of usage of each of the tags on the website, and you have the Twitter card, site label, data one, and the percentages of these. Of course, you can dig in deeper into the content of these and how it's being distributed and used, but you get a very quick overview of the size of what's going on. Meta descriptions, again, we can do the word counts and see which words are used. These are the bigrams to give me an idea of what meta descriptions are there. Do we have duplicates? Yes, it seems this is a count. So the top meta descriptions here are the count is 2, which means this has been duplicated once, and this one has been duplicated once. So we can check these and fix them. The red one here is nan, not a number, which means not available. So we have one page with a missing meta description, and it is this one. We can also check redirects. So we have one redirect from this URL to this one, and it's a 301 redirect. If you have more than one redirect, you would have all the redirect chain over here. So if like the redirect is like 5 URLs, you'll see URL 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this one is the final crawled URL, not the requested. So this one was requested, but it was redirected to this one. Okay, and you can see how many times and what kind of redirect. Finally, you can look at the depth of your website with a simple visualization like this. The number of pages that have 0 distance from the home page is 1, which is the home page itself. The number of pages that have a distance of 1, or like within 1 click of the home page, is 10, 2, 3. So you can see how the depth is distributed across the website and how things look. So yeah, this was a quick overview of what you can do. This is the report, and yeah, hope you liked it.
This was brilliant. I think we got such amazing response on YouTube as well. Everyone loved it, and the most favorite question is, are you going to share this Jupyter notebook with everyone?
Yeah, it's $5,000. Yes, of course. Yeah, sure.
Okay,
the notebook or the report? Both. I can share both. No problem.
Yeah, I think you can share report as well. I think report I will also be sharing with my team. I think we should also, focus on our websites SEO, which we never do. Yeah, but yeah, this was brilliant. I think a lot of things you showed, for example, bigrams, how you look at content and depth from the homepage, and a lot of things, especially you mentioned about this redirect chains, right? And you mentioned like everything would be available there. I think that's a very common pain point, because in all of these, crawling tools, we get that, hey, we have, some redirect chains there. We get the number as well, how many loops we have, but you don't get that report there itself. And then, there is like, you need to tweak it. You need to somehow, get the data. It's not straightforward. But with this, I think what we get is that flexibility. Like you can, configure it the way you want. You can get whatever you want. So I think this is brilliant. It's definitely going to be one of my favorite crawlers from today onwards. So yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Elias, for presenting that. I think a lot of people loved, and yes, please share the Jupyter notebook. And yes, there are people who are like, take my money, I could pay, right? So you are definitely like almost there with the 5,000 quote that you just put out there.
I should have increased the price.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
This was brilliant. Thank you so much once again. And now we spoke about, how to get started with Python, and we also spoke about your website audits with Python. One thing which is very important, which is keyword research. And when it's done manually, it is very labor intensive work. Right now, Andreas will show us how he uses the power of Python, right, to automate a lot of things there to give you more power, so that you can run everything with the help of Python, and you don't need to, buy those expensive tools. Well, I'm not saying like don't buy them. You go for it, right? Buy. And because they also have some power, they can run in clouds, and there are many more advantages that we have there, right? But yes, for now, let's talk about how we can make the best use of Python for everything keyword research. Andreas, go for it.
Sure, I'll just share my screen. Okay, so the end result is to obviously get to a list of keywords that are grouped by search intent, and that's what I mean by keyword clustering. I think most people probably do. in the industry. So the way it works is we simply import the SERPs for your target keywords, and that involves a bit of data extraction. But once you've got the SERPs, then it's a question of you want to filter out the URLs like Google, for example. Okay, and once you've filtered out the sort of noisy stuff, then what you simply do is you need to convert your SERPs for each keyword. So you can see here you've got multiple rows, and you want to put all of you want to put all of the URLs in the SERPs into a single string or a single cell, so to speak. Talking Excel language. By the way, I haven't used Excel for years. Do everything in Python now. So I do use it for visualization, but yeah, anyway. So to convert that, to get all the SERPs into a single cell so you can have one row per keyword, we've got this function here, which basically takes, it groups the data frame above. A data frame is like Excel, Python language for an Excel table. And then what we do is by group, we just simply take all of the URLs and stick it into a single value, which we call SERP string here. And then we run the function, and then this is what you get. Yeah, so once you've got that, so a lot of 90% of data science is trying to get things into the right format. And then what we're going to do is we want to compare all of these SERPs against each other. So we've got a function here. It's a bit of a long one, so I won't talk through that too much, otherwise there will be no time. But effectively, the effect is to take each keyword and line it up with another keyword, and so that we've got both keywords, so we know what we're comparing, but also we've got the SERPs for each keyword, and then we've got this other rather long function, and what it does is that it effectively compares how similar, or rather how distant or not similar, the SERPs are. So we see here the SERPs for biometric device and biometric device company are not very similar, actually. No, I think they are very similar. So yeah, so the comparison is done. Once we've got those comparisons, then we group by how similar or dissimilar they are. So here we've got an even longer function. And what we do is we're checking to see if they are, we set the similarity limit here of 30%. So anything that is 30% similar will be grouped, okay? And then when we sort of run through and we compare the similarity, we can see, we can start grouping to sort of say, right, okay, well, if they're at least, dissimilar 30%. So if they're at least 70% similar, then this keyword, as you can see here, it's saying, well, actually, yeah, biometric device, believe it or not, should be grouped to biometric device. That's obvious. That's quite obvious. But if we pick something a little less obvious, fatigue accidents at work should be mapped. So these keywords belong in this cluster. So fatigue accidents even handles misspellings really well. Shows that Google knows what it's doing and knows how to handle misspellings. And then we've got the actual keyword itself, fatigue accidents at work, and fatigue accidents in the workplace. So these share a similar search intent, and that's basically how you would group the keywords by search intent. Bit of a whistle-stop tour, but hopefully that the logic is more important rather than the actual code itself. But that shows what Python can do, or one of the things.
This was brilliant as well. And yes, now I'm not sure how many questions we have on that, but I definitely would love to have access to this Jupyter notebook. Are you planning to share this as well publicly?
It is already shared. I wrote an
All
article
right.
on Search Engine Journal, and it's up
Okay.
there. If you just Google keyword clustering by search intent, Search Engine Journal, it'll show up.
Brilliant. Yeah, we'll do that.
I
And I was
mean,
anyway planning to. Yeah, sorry. Go
oh,
ahead,
sorry, I was
Andreas.
about to say, obviously, the code has improved since then, and the improved code is all shared in that data-driven SEO book. But I
Amazing.
can't share that because obviously the publisher would have kittens, and I'll get sued.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So, guys, point to note: you go and order your book right now so that you have all this amazing power with you. And when very soon Elias launches this crawling tool, just go and get it as well. So we're
It's
promoting.
there. It's there. It's open
Yeah,
source.
but
Free.
maybe you want to, like package it and then, like launch it as a tool, right? So yeah, I mean, if you don't want to do that, we should partnership.
We will.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, so this was, I think brilliant. I think learned a lot. And yeah, like BB, my brain also exploded. A lot of knowledge, a lot of great stuff, absolutely brilliant stuff. Thank you so much, three of you, for sharing the topics that we agreed upon. And I think this also completes a loop. However, I have another question, which is about SEO migrations, right? Migrations are tough. And even if you're doing like a lot of stuff, so you do like pre-migration audits 100 times, then you do your audits, you run your crawls during the migration, and then you do like 100 crawls after the migration as well. So what is your Python solution to solve that as well? Because I think with the power of Python, because now we have a crawler, right? We have keyword clustering, we have everything in there, right? So how do you think we can basically join the dots and build a workflow which can work for SEO migrations as well? So do you have something like, have you solved the problem of SEO migration with the help of SEO? Or with the help of Python, sorry?
Is that a question to everybody, or?
Everyone, yes, whosoever wants to take it.
I
Yeah,
talked the most, so you go ahead, Andreas.
Okay. Let me just share a screen. I mean, there was something that came up very quickly, so I just pulled this up. So this is also in the book. So obviously, in terms of the migration part, sorry, it's a really extremely long script, but what we want to do is, one of the problems, as you know, of migrations is trying to map legacy URLs to new staging URLs or new URLs. And so one of the things that I do is to actually do a similarity score of the content and the content and the of the so trying to match the titles of the new URLs and the URLs you're about to migrate, and that can help you shortcut the mapping. So anything that's less than the, say, 80% score will help you sort of save a lot of hours. The other thing as well is when you're trying to sort of work out the value of the URLs of which ones you're going to carry over, again, using Pareto is quite useful, because then you can, it's a bit similar to the cumulative distribution chart that Elias was showing earlier. Sorry, it's a really long script. Here we go. So Pareto, you can see that if you sort of list in descending order of volume the total impressions, then you can sort of work your way down and see, how less important each successive URL is as you go down. That can help you work out, which URLs are at risk of, if they're not carried over, how it could impact the traffic of the site upon relaunch. Does that make sense?
It totally does, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's my
that was
2
brilliant.
cents.
I think, yeah, that's brilliant. Well, we have a question from Nick, who's joining us from Australia, and the question is, how did you identify what similarity score was best?
Yeah, so of course, like in SEO, 80% is kind of, that's where I've eyeballed the data. So it can be site or industry dependent. The other thing is that it also depends on the algorithm you use, because there's different similarity metrics. I find so some of them depend on the amount of sort of individual string character replacements. I prefer to go with something more token based, or in SEO language, actual words that are similar, title words that are similar to other title words. There's different ones like Hammerstein, Levenstein. I think it's Hammer, or was it Hamming? I can't remember. But I find the cosine one is also quite good. But you really need to test different ones and then see which ones are coming out with something workable for your client.
That makes sense. That makes total sense. Yeah, cool. I think that was brilliant. Thank you so much once again for sharing that. Elias, Alessia, do you have something to add here?
I only I think it was an Andreas solution as well when you check if there are any broken URLs left after migration and 301 redirects, and especially images. Like many people miss images a lot, and with this tool, I don't think you have images there. But anyways, you can add it if you need to check it also, because they play a crucial role and should not be forgotten either.
Yeah. And on that, I have a question. So Elias, so your like awesome, audit package. So whatever reports it generates, do you also have a way to find diff between two reports? So if I'm doing one pre, one post, right, I want to see the diff. So do you have something which basically gives the diff as well?
Yes, of course. I mean, because every URL has a complete row that represents it independently. So whatever you want to compare, whatever, let's say, so H1's here and H1's there, you just put these, you merge them together, and you can see the differences. Any two columns that you have, page speed, redirects, and so on. So that's straightforward, but you just need to know a bit about merging tables, which is not that complicated. But once you have that, you can definitely.
Otherwise, ChatGPT can teach you that.
Absolutely. Alessia has the solution.
Yeah, definitely. So I think then in that case, I would probably just run an audit before the migration, and then after we'll write a diff function, which basically does the magic for me, and I have full migration tool ready with me. Yeah. So I think this was
Sorry, go ahead, Alessia.
No,
I just wanted to say that when you look at these big codes, sometimes you may get very lost. So when you're doing this audit, or when you're doing anything else like migration or any other stuff, so ChatGPT comes on very handy. You just copy the piece of code that you don't really understand or don't know how you can change it quite a bit, and you just simply ask ChatGPT, please explain me what's going on in this code, or how can I alter it, or how can I utilize it in some other way. And it's really, really pretty good in changing you. I may share just a screen if you pick the moment. Anton, can you share my screen, please? It was supposed to be very fast. Okay, so you just ask them like if you rewrite the code that you have, and you just ask ChatGPT why it produces an error. If you are like me, who is not very good at finding all these commas and all this, yeah, you can switch it off, and everything else, and it does a very good job in explaining this kind of stuff. And sometimes it's not very good at fixing it. Sometimes it gets repetitive and recursive, so it produces the same error again and again. Just don't get very mad at ChatGPT. It's like a very junior developer, so like that. So sometimes you have to find yourself, but at least you know where to look for it.
Definitely. Once I tried ChatGPT and I asked it to write me a code with comments, right? Trust me, it did a better job than a junior developer. So yeah, I think ChatGPT is brilliant, right? And if you understand code, Python, or for that matter, any technology, I think life becomes very easy with ChatGPT. And even if you don't understand, like Alessia mentioned, right, it is brilliant. Like you can just take codes there. Mostly it works, right? Unless you're writing something very complicated, And that is also, a problem for which Alicia gave a solution in the beginning, that don't make it too complicated. After all, it's a machine. So give like smaller instructions, get the code, try it, right? Think about modules. And then, of course, you can think about combining modules. For that, also, you can ask ChatGPT how to combine different modules in Python, right? And then you would be able to do a fantastic job. And that's exactly what I'm going to do with this migration process as well. Cool. That was fantastic. With that, I think we are coming to almost the end of it, right? So, any other applications that you guys are using Python for when it comes to SEO in particular?
I mean, tons really. Working out the value of links, so we know what links to pursue for our clients. Showing where the money is. When it comes to, I'll show my screen quickly, but showing where the money is when it comes to technical recommendations, because our clients don't just want they don't just want problems, lists of URLs. They want to see, what is the revenue per click. If I fix Core Web Vitals, how much revenue, how many URLs does it affect? But what amount of revenue does that control? How many referring domains, all of that kind of thing. And if we do have, for example, 0 to 1 internal links, which pages does it affect? It's just things like that. It's just making it a lot more, you got to remember who you're presenting to. If you're presenting to a business audience, then it's just, Python can be really powerful at turning the technical into something more understandable to a non-SEO expert.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is brilliant. So that's all I think we need, right? And when you're talking about, how we, for example, use it to find the money pages or the money topics, right? That also helps with the biggest enterprise issue topic, which is prioritization. It's
Yeah.
always, like really stressful whenever we're talking about, how to basically, yeah, plan your topics and or prioritize your topics. But I think, yeah, these kind of analysis where you bring everything at one place, and here you're talking about reach as well. For example, when you mentioned about core web vitals, that's definitely going to affect all the landing pages on the website. So reach is 100%. However, when you're working on some other project where reach would be probably lesser, and that would affect the whole impact. So yeah, I think this was brilliant. And yeah, this was absolutely brilliant. So yeah, Elias, Alicia, do you want to also talk about some of the other applications for which you use Python?
Yeah, I can, but maybe LS wants to start.
I mean, I always live inside the Jupyter notebook, so everything I do, there's so many packages to do, so many things, so everything.
Yeah.
I
So the
like
one
to
word
check
answer is go
sometimes
check
if the
and go.
links.
Yeah. Sorry, Alicia,
Sorry.
go ahead. There's some
I like
connection.
to check sometimes how the backlinks really work and where I'm missing something compared to my competitors, because all the tools that are out there for backlinks, they don't count every other backlink, and I really want to have those that may have some more impact, for example, on Google. And it's naturally that Google ranks pages. If Google ranks some pages and my competitor has a link from that page, it might be working slightly better compared to the links that are not indexed on the page that is not indexed. So, for example, when we are doing brand building for our client or something, we want to have this nice panel, Google Knowledge panel, or see about some reputation building. So we want to scrape our competitors, what links they have. We want to scrape them by brand, by mentions. We want to scrape them brand plus review, brand plus, I don't know, tutorial, user cases, and every other things, or maybe even money keyword. And we have these long lists of these URLs, which we want to see if they are repetitive. That's where Python is very good. So we don't have to do that manually or do this in a spreadsheet with our eyes. We can just go on with Python and pick the URLs so that they are unique. And then we can map and compare which competitors have backlinks from which domains and how they work, what anchor text they use, and how good how it impacts their rankings and how it impacts their brand visibility and so forth. So, and compare with us, we can make this graph in Python, which shows us which links we are missing, and building which we can have a better positive impact on our brand as well.
Amazing. I think that's a brilliant application as well. Love that. Yes, Elias, you wanted to add something as well, I guess? You're smiling.
Other applications? Well, I mean, the approach that I also like to emphasize more is trying to use data analysis for all these things. Quantify the problem. How many issues? Yes, this issue X is a problem, but how widespread is it to my website, and to make it easier to communicate with the audience. So many text analysis, text management things to do, broken links, images, all the stuff that I showed with much more detail, like Andreas showed as well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. In that case, I think there are a lot of people who are asking for, the GitHub repository or Jupyter notebooks and, more stuff on this. What I'll do is I'll collect the notes. I'll summarize the whole thing that we discussed today. We'll also collect the notes from Alicia, Elias, and Andreas, whatever Andreas is able to share right now publicly, considering, the contract that he has signed with the book publisher, right? So I'll try to summarize everything, and we'll publish a post by the end of day today. I've already spoken with my team and they're working on it, and we will summarize and share everything so that you have everything at one place, and yeah, life becomes easier. Cool. So yeah, with that, I think we're coming to the end of it, and I would request each one of you to share one about your one favorite tip for everyone who's basically learning Python or who is already using Python, like how they should be going about it, what things they should keep in mind, or something that can work as a pro tip for them. And second, you can also share your preferred communication channel where if they have something, maybe an open question which they didn't get answer here, they can reach out to you. Cool. So let's start with Andreas.
Okay. So favorite channel, LinkedIn, and in terms of my Python tip, it would be, look, it's a bit like learning any language. Python tells you how to express yourself, but you have more interesting things to say or express if you have the ideas. And in my view, and what I found, is that higher mathematics is the ideas for Python. Okay, so the more you know about maths, the more you can translate those ideas or code those patterns that you're seeing in the data. And the ideas, you need maths to be able to come up with that. And obviously it's probably a bit impractical to ask people to start self-learning a mathematics degree, but definitely do a basic statistics course, both descriptive and inferential. Learn how to do a t-test and things like that, because if you know how, data-driven SEO is not just about learning Python, it's also about how to think of the SEO problem or overcome the SEO challenge in a mathematical way, and Python will be the language in which you exactly, learn math. Thanks.
Cool. That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Andreas, once again for joining us today and sharing such amazing stuff to inspire a lot of people here. Thank you once again for that. Yeah. With that, Alicia.
My only tip would be that sometimes Python can be very overwhelming. You may spend like 3 days to accomplish something that would manually take 5 minutes. So weigh your time carefully, because it's a very immersive, I must say, experience for everyone. Just have some goal before you do something. Also, I'm often seeing people that do some Python code, then stare at it, it performs well. They don't understand what to do with that further. So you need to be knowing what you're doing and what you're doing it for. So what do you want to accomplish, what your goals are, and then it comes very easy. But if it's taking too long time, maybe it's better to search for some help or ask someone. And I do encourage you to join different Python communities or SEO communities where they have these coding exchanges and so on. Don't be there on yourself all alone with this Python code which doesn't work or like things like that. Otherwise, it's very, very interesting experience. And yes, Andreas is very right. You'll need some math, even if you are going to use ChatGPT, because like it's kind of basics. My favorite channel of communication is Telegram. However, you can also connect with me on LinkedIn.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you once again for joining us today, Alicia. And yes, I completely agree with everything you mentioned. We should not be thinking about automating everything because that can backfire. So you need to think about, you need to follow a pragmatic approach that wherever you see patterns and you're spending more time on it, you can think about automating. But if it's one-off task, which is probably going to take half an hour, then don't spend 5 hours just writing a Python script to do that. All right, Elias.
Yes. How to learn Python.
Over.
Well, my main tip is don't learn Python. Learn data science, because unfortunately, learning Python is a very misleading thing. But we're stuck with this keyword, unfortunately, but it's okay. Because let me give you a simple example. I see someone has a great newsletter, and I like it, and I'm inspired. I want to make another newsletter like them, and I go to them and say, "What do you do? How do you do this?" And they say, "Oh, I use MailChimp. You should learn MailChimp." Now, how much is that going to affect my readership and my? It's not, But I learned MailChimp. I know how to upload a list of emails on MailChimp, but nobody's subscribing. Of course, they're not subscribing because there's a field under online marketing. It's called email marketing. Learn that, because it's about building the community, getting permission from people to get advertised to prove that you're interesting, and so on. These are the things that you need to learn. Of course, you need to learn a tool, but that's a second question. This is question number 2. Same thing. You want to learn blogging. You don't want to just focus on WordPress. You want to become a graphic designer. You don't want to just focus on Photoshop. Same thing here. You want to work on data science and know how to manipulate data, visualize it. And data science gives you just the right amount of math, statistics, and programming to get this done. So that's my tip if you want to go faster than everyone who's going with Python for SEO.
Amazing. That was brilliant. And I completely agree. I think when we met here in Berlin as well, that time also we were discussing about it, that Python is just a technology, it's just an enabler, right? So
Yep.
like learning Python is probably not needed. Learning data science, understanding how things happen, and going to the depth of that is much more important. So yeah, great note to wrap this up. Thank you so much, Elias, as well, for joining us today. And everyone, great support. Thank you. It was wonderful, talking about everyone's favorite topic these days, Python for SEO. But of course, now I think we should call it data science for SEO, not Python for SEO. Right.
Yes.
So thank you so much once again. And yeah, keep optimizing and be awesome. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.